Hello everyone, it's Roger and Abe here with your Disney Infinity and Beyond webcast episode number 26. 26 episodes. So on this week's episode we are going to do a bit of a special episode because it's slightly pre-recorded. It is going to be our top 10 most things that we want to see improved for Disney Infinity 3.0. We're going to do basically take it in turns and just kind of roll through it. So there's not going to be any news, there's not going to be any toy boxes this week, purely for the reason that we haven't really had anything happen in the last 12 hours since we did the last one.
Well, maybe one thing.
Maybe one thing, but we'll leave that over there. So we have got, basically we want to just go through and just kind of, completely think outside and just think of what we want to see in 3.0, what we want to see improved, and all kinds of things really, because this is a bit constructive. It's also might be things that are wrong with it, just things that we want personally. So it's going to be a little bit more fun, a little bit more just open for all over the place. And I think we've actually both made lists, and unless they're both the same, we'll probably have to do this again in another month's time. Yeah. Right, so I'm going to pass this one over to Abe and let him go first on this one.
So I'm going to go first, huh?
Yeah.
Well, you know what? We know we both have it on our list, so let's just get it out of the way. Lack of playsets.
Yes, that's number one.
Yeah, I might as well, because I know we both have it. But basically, there's really not much to talk about other than we know the fact that, yeah, we had some playsets. Yeah, we know they dedicated most of their time to the toy box. And toy box is amazing. Everything's awesome. Yeah. They created Toy Box Game Disc. Everything's cool. But, going from 6 awesome playsets on the Disney side to absolutely 0 Disney playsets, a little disappointing. And honestly, yeah, we got 3 playsets from Marvel. But, again, the size thing is not a big issue when you can fly around. And to be honest with you, technically, Marvel's version of Spider-Man and the Avengers playset were pretty similar. Yeah. So it's almost like we had 2 in a way.
Yeah.
But anyways, it's out there.
One was snowing and one wasn't. That was the difference.
Ah, yes, that's true. One had Frozen in it. Yeah. Yes. You want to add to that? Or?
Yeah, I think it was one of those things. I think going into 1.0, they had a lot more time. They had a few years of development. So that's why they had those 6 playsets. They were very strong playsets. It's kind of quite good, because when we look back at 1.0, we do think of the playsets. And I think now we're maybe putting slightly rose-tinted glasses over them from where we stood a year ago. Because a year ago, we were going, the playsets were too short, they didn't have a proper ending, they didn't have this, they didn't have that. We fast forward a year, and we get the Marvel playsets, and they fixed a few things in the actual playsets were better. But I think there was 2 major problems. First off, the big, white elephant in the room was there was nothing Disney, and I think they screwed up. They screwed up not having Disney in there. They alienated lots of fans. Basically, you had a whole big audience of Disney Infinity players that they didn't have any. What they did in the first game wasn't there in the second. If they only played the playsets in the first game because they like Disney, they went to the second game and there wasn't anything. Now they could say about the toy box, but they might not have even played the toy box in the last game. They just wanted. They like story, they like structure, they like to feel... So the toy box doesn't feel, for a lot of people, like it's like a game. They don't quite, they can't grasp the fact that if it's not set out exactly how it should be, they don't expect it to be a game. They want an A to B story, and a few things on the way, and that's how, and they completely missed it. And it's the amount of complaints, the amount of backlash, has just been, I mean, it's kind of one of those things, maybe for me personally, I love the Marvel side. So I didn't get that, I haven't got that big, there's no playsets, there's nothing to do, because I like the Marvel side. But there'd be no different than if they decided 3.0 was a Disney Junior set where they only had, I don't know, dog mix stuff in, I don't know, I can't even think of Jake and the Neverland and somebody else. If they came out with a junior series and it was all really based, and one was based on the princesses, I might be sitting there going, well, I don't really want to play that. And that's how I flick it over. Is like, well, if it was free area or an area of Disney that I don't particularly like, maybe they do a Duffy one or something like that.
No.
But I can see how if it was the shoe was on the other foot and I didn't like what they were pushing out, how that would be, Dean, how I would be like, well, I've missed out this year. There's nothing for me.
Yeah.
I can really see how they really messed up, and I really hope going into 3.0 they fix this. They get a better selection of playsets. I think they need Disney, Marvel, and Star Wars. They need to do that every year. They need to have a range. They need to keep everybody happy.
Yeah, exactly. The key word, what you're saying is that's important is everybody, because even though they did release figures for Disney fans, they alienated those Disney fans that were fans of the play sets and, not crazy about the toy box. And yeah, that's just a big no-no.
Yeah, if they go Star Wars this time and do the same thing they did with the Marvel, they are going to lose another big chunk of their audience. For every customer they gain, they're losing a previous one because there's nothing for them, and they've got to be really careful of how. If they've not got enough teams to create what they started, they need to they needed to do something about it. Hopefully now, the money's rolling in from Infinity, they can get more teams on. Already I noticed, when 2.0 come out, the amount of developers on that front screen has improved. They've already got Panic Games, they've got Studio Ninja Theory, and there's a few other ones, Panic Button, I think there was another one. That if these guys are all working on it, hopefully maybe we've got more, more content coming from each studio, and they're putting more money, a bit more effort into it. So that's what I'm hoping, or that's what I think they need to do. If not,
I kind of see it that way too. Yeah, I'm hoping that that's the reason why. That way they can delegate and actually give us more. So
it's like Ninja Theory being brought in just to do Jasmine and the villains. Doesn't sound like a great. But what are they working on now? We don't. Are they working on combat and things for Star Wars or whatever else?
I think you're right. I think they were just given those few figures to start out with 2.0, but they are really working on the meat and potatoes of their project underground, which is like 3.0. So
I think in general, we want more play sets. I'm sure if you ran a poll, that one there is the number one thing that's really come back was the play sets, and the lack of Disney is probably more so. If we only had like an Ant-Man playset next year, I'd rather they did, one Star Wars, one Marvel, one Disney, than just do 3 Star Wars, because, as much I'm a huge Star Wars fan, but I think in the long run they can't do what they did with the Marvel side.
Yeah, I agree.
Okay, so this kind of actually, I think this then slides over to my point for my first one is just to have one starter pack. And this kind of follows on from what we had last. I think for 2.0 they had the 2 starter packs, massively watered the market down. It caused confusion. It caused no ends of. If the amount of questions of what one do I need, which one do I want. I don't want to have to buy 2. I don't want to have to buy another starter pack. I don't want to have another. At one point I had 3 bases. And it's. I think it got too confusing. You had the Disney people starting off with the first game going, well, I don't want Marvel, but I don't want to have to wait till November. The digital version should have been available on day 1 at the same time as the starter pack. It caused confusion. The retailers then had to have twice as many starter packs. I was like this. Okay, so we had the Marvel starter pack and we had the Disney one. The Disney one didn't have any play sets. Now, I actually, in all honesty, I would prefer for 3.0 that if they come out with a toy box starter pack with a Disney and a Marvel and a Star Wars, or any combination of everything, not just slap Darth Vader and Luke Skywalker in it, have some variant, put some different characters in, and just have one starter pack. Maybe no play sets, just have some toy box game discs and make it easy, make it accessible, just so they can buy one item and leave it at that. You can do a collector's edition if you wanted to do something extra, but I think in general they should only have one starter pack.
I agree with you. Yeah, I agree with you. In fact, I know we discussed a long time ago that they should exactly do, do that one Star Wars, one Marvel, and one Disney figure like in a starter pack. That would be cool. But you know what? I was even thinking, to tell you the truth, let's replay this past year with 2.0. If they did do Disney playsets per se, let's say if they just released only the Marvel starter pack, that's it. Just release the Marvel starter pack, but say, oh, but there will be Disney playsets and it will work with your Marvel starter pack. If they really want other people to start liking their product, or like if there's non-Marvel fans that are just Disney fans, hey, just try this one Marvel Avengers playset. But if you don't want to play it, fine, we still have Disney playsets for you. Regardless whether you theme, let's say next year's, if it is Star Wars, if the if the starter pack is strictly Star Wars, okay, that's fine, but at least make sure that there's playsets for everybody else. That way you still eliminate the fact that you need multiple playsets. But I don't know. That's just that's me business thinking.
Yeah.
Like if I want consumer to like products that they don't like, have them try it.
Yeah.
But as far as logically the way we would really want it, I would still go with you. Like make it like 1.0, but you have one character from each IP. So.
But then it's like I don't think we're ever going to go back to having 3 play sets with a starter pack. I don't think we're going to get that ever again.
Right.
I think in some ways the toy box starter pack could maybe be an experiment. See how that went down. Would people buy it? Maybe. I would rather see the starter pack be cheaper, and I think because that toy box starter pack was a lot cheaper than the new one. Keep it simple. Maybe only chuck two figures in. Keep the price down. Get more people into it. So you get the toy box, and then buy.
And the playsets are optional.
And the playsets are optional, and kind of try and just go after more people. Because I know, I can see the fact they want to put a Star Wars on it, and it's going to appeal to a whole new audience. But now they've got to keep the Marvel fans happy. Now they've got to keep the Disney fans happy. They can release everything individually. They could still release it. If they like they did with Stitch and Merida, they could still put them out as separate characters. They're obviously not opposed to doing that. But one one starter pack on one day. Let it out there. Don't muddy the waters with two. But do we want 3 versions, 3 starter packs next year?
No.
It's
even though you bought 3 this year already.
I know, yeah.
Or last year.
Yeah, and I had a bit if I buy the Vita version as well. It's just too much, and I think they need to get a clearer idea of where it is. I don't know whether or not it was with Marvel, whether or not there's that much more of a specific. It did feel right from the word go. There was Marvel on one side, Disney on the other, and sometimes they weren't seeming to be able to cross. Even though the toy box is all about merging, and you can have Spider-Man on Aladdin's carpet. The advertising and the wording was, you never saw them in the same picture together. You never saw them in the trailers together. You never saw them interacting. The Marvel playset, everything was very much here's one, here's the other, and I don't think there was much sort of cross-pollination going on there between it all.
Yeah, no, it's true. Disney's really good at separating their intellectual properties. I've been noticing, like before, you used to have a few Marvel movies come out and they had the Disney logo. Now you're not even seeing the Disney logo anymore. So it's like.
But Star Wars they are.
Of course.
So I don't.
Oh yeah. But that'll eventually start separating, I think.
No, see, I'm thinking the exact opposite with Star Wars. I'm thinking now it's actually they are bringing it in. It is Disney Star Wars, rather than. People, they're trying to get that over the fact that Star Wars is now part of Disney. All the Rebels stuff has all got Disney logo on it. The Marvel stuff hasn't got, because it's almost like they can't aim.
They started that way though, is what I'm saying. It
Yeah,
started. I feel like they may start it that way and then eventually segue off.
I
I don't know. That's personal opinion. I don't
I'm
know.
thinking Marvel seems to be, because of the comic books. There's a much bigger adult audience in it, whereas Star
That's true.
Wars seems to be more sort of Star Wars Rebels and the new movies. They're all going to be aimed at kids a lot more than they aim them at the kids. They don't aim them at the adults. Where Marvel still has the comic book, which is
That's
still
true.
very adult.
Actiony and
Yeah,
yeah.
you know, it's I think there's a difference of, and I
All
also
the adult Star Wars fans are like waving their fist at
yeah.
you right now. They're the sand people.
But you know, but we've already gone through that with the original Star Wars or the prequels, and we went through it with the Clone Wars. They, you know, Lucas came out and was like, no, he's aiming them at the new generation, not at the old
That's
one.
true.
And
That's
I
very
think
true.
the new ones will be exactly the same. They're not, you know, what is it? I just don't know. I think Marvel came in with a lot more. Maybe it was much more of a separate entity, and it had a lot more. It was its own thing in its own right, and it didn't really want to be. Sort of,
That's true because Star Wars had a little an association with Disney already,
yeah.
anyways. So yeah, that makes sense.
So that's okay. So that's it. So I'm going to pass it over to Abe for his second choice.
Oh yeah, next one. I guess it ties in a little bit with the starter packs. For me was, even though I think the biggest hit this round was,
Yeah.
the toy box game discs. One of the things that I wasn't too happy about was the fact that they were really just reskins of each other. Um, I enjoyed playing the Guardians of the Galaxy Dungeon Crawler, but then, you know, it was fun to play it themed to Merida and
I was the
Brave.
opposite.
Yeah, I know. I'm just saying,
Yeah.
I enjoyed it too, but
Yeah, too
the
similar.
part of me that already played
Yeah.
the Guardians one, I'm like, well, they could have done something else. They could have done like, 10 levels of like Brave archery, like a
Yeah.
different type of game, or even if they had one of these which was like racetracks, random racetracks
Yeah.
generated, and then you had all these races or something. I don't know. It just, to me, even though I love them, don't get me wrong, regardless of the fact that they are reskinned, they're still fun, and I enjoy playing with friends online and in person, these Toy Box game discs, but it also looks like, it almost feels like it was just, okay, let's just slap a new skin on this and say it's a new.
Yeah.
And I know it's again, it all has to do with catering to your Marvel fans
Yeah.
and then also your Disney fans, but it still would have been cool to have its own uniqueness to it. So that's just my complaint.
I see where they went with those toy box game discs, and actually, it was my number 3 pick was to have more of these. I want to see more of these in future games. I think, like, for example, they missed a trick with 2.0. If they weren't going down the playset route, they should have had a Big Hero 6 one. They should have had a Maleficent one. They should have had an Aladdin. If they had those 3 there as those toy box game discs for each of the zones that they came out with, for each of the Disney sort of franchises, people wouldn't have gone so mad. I don't think at the playset lack of playsets. I think because it would have been a segue into what they're trying to do. I think they should have had a Big Hero. I think they should have. If they don't, their toy box, they can be regenerated. They obviously are a lot easier to make. And on a side note, I think they should be forward compatible because the toy boxes. They should, when we get our next game, we should be able to pop them down and use them. Not like, that's a side note, but I think they missed the trick in not using. I don't know whether it was an experiment to see how the people reacted to them. But they should have. If they're not doing a play set, they need this because it gives us the toys to play to unlock, and it gives us content that's created for us.
So technically that doesn't count for you though, because what I was saying is, since they're reskinned, I kind of wanted more, and you just said, that's why I want more of them. So you can't use that.
I can't use that one. No, I'm gonna have to go into my spare bank. Right.
Yeah, your spare bank.
Right.
But yeah, absolutely agree. Definitely give us more, and don't reskin them anymore.
No, I think as well as, like I said, is if you're not gonna do it, if you weren't gonna do a Big Hero 6 playset or a Frozen, or Wreck-It Ralph, all of those there could have done with that little bit of content and a toy box game disc would have fixed that, and I think it would have been
Absolutely.
less of a big issue, sort of a halfway, you know. But this
Oh yeah.
leads me on to number 4, and
Okay.
this kind of slides into this thing of, for example, we have these two characters, Tron, that are DLC. They are downloadable content. They are, you're still gonna have to go buy the figures, so don't worry about that bit. But they're going to be added to the game later. They're not on the disc
Mhm.
now. Apparently, they've got to be updated. And again, I don't know if this is an experiment because, in all honesty, I think Disney, the whole idea of this thing was that it was a platform. It wasn't just a new game every year. And they talk about, Disney Infinity, the platform. They don't talk about it as a game. And this is where I think the DLC and just having the downloadable updates needs to become part of a newer thing. They need to, get over this fact of rushing out that starter pack every year. It's fine. They can bring out a new starter pack with a new updated disc. But, 2.0, when 3.0 comes out, it should essentially, you obviously, if you buy the play sets, you should be able to it downloads them. If you get a new figure, it downloads them. So instead of trying to get around these physical old system of a disc, which doesn't, we all need to have the console connected to play the toy box. It's an online game. If you haven't got the Infinity locked up to your Xbox Live or PlayStation network, there is nothing to do.
Yeah.
After Christmas, when that network went down, suddenly the whole game for me just went, right, well, it's already an online game. You'd already eliminated the playsets. Obviously, are offline, but the toy box is an online video game. You have to play it online. You have to download them. You have to, you can build your toy boxes, but if no one's ever going to play them, you can play them with friends and stuff. But a huge chunk of everything is online, and
Yeah.
I think they need to get, for example, if they came out with a new Avengers playset for the new movie coming out, or if they could have a new toy box game disc come out now. They could bring out a big hero, a Cinderella figure or a Cinderella toy box game disc, and have them out now, and they update. I know they talk about it takes 9 months to a year to get these things already. Well, they've had that. They've had the time. Maybe instead of thinking 3.0, maybe we're thinking, okay, 3. Well, what 3.0 could literally just be new play sets that work on this game. We don't maybe this rush to get a new starter pack every year in a whole new game is going to cause problems in the long run. I think they maybe need to go down this sort of constantly updating, and maybe have a new disc every 2 years, but just keep updating with new play sets and new figures, rather than this. I know the money side of things with the starter pack, but it's made 2.0 rushed by trying to rush it out, and it suffered because of it.
Yeah, I would definitely add that there's really no need to rush a starter pack. I think they should work on their games. I mean, if you have all these developer studios working, maybe, I mean, like they said, the Disney Infinity is an ever-evolving platform. Maybe they can start working on adding new content via patch, as opposed to, add just little figures here and there, or a toy here and there, and then really focus on your next starter pack. No, I think they should definitely work on more of that digital download stuff.
Because to me, yeah, I was gonna say, because to me, I now look at the toy box. The toy box has now essentially become a free-to-play game.
Mhm.
Okay, the content that you're paying for are the power discs, the toy box game discs, and the figures. That's where, and if you look at mobile games and stuff, the toy box has become a free-to-play game. And if you look at the cost of the starter packs or the digital version, most of the time, the actual game disc wasn't actually even part of the cost. And that's the kind of thing. Is it rather than constantly, that's the way I think we need to maybe look at it.
Yeah.
But
Yep.
I think in general, I think they just having constant updates. Like, not being funny, but it would be cool now to suddenly have Cinderella announced as coming out next month,
Yeah, because they could just add it. Boom.
You know,
Yeah.
they've updated it. The figure's coming out. Maybe there's a new power disc. I mean, it comes into troubles with obviously the albums and all the rest of it. But update things. Maybe that's what need to move on from this sort of physical, like trying to do it yearly. I mean, Skylanders have a yearly game, but there's no internet connection. But also they have a different team building each game. The toy box going forward is the same. It's an improvement of a game. The Toy Box 2.0 is an upgrade. And I think, it's like you say, like the word patch. I mean, I don't even look at it's not a patch, it's an upgrade, or you've moved up an edition.
Well, the only reason why I say patch is because a lot of games work that way that are existing. I think I brought up, like, an example was, I don't know, so many games do it, but I guess, I said World of Warcraft last time.
Yeah.
Because when they have a new dungeon or a new area, they have, notes on the new patch for, blah, blah, blah. And it usually adds a lot more than just bug fixes. It's usually new content as well.
I mean, I understand the concept that they've got to have a starter pack in the store. And they need to have, it makes, but that's where I was, previous point. If they only have one, it simplifies it. You pop the disc in and it updates to the latest version, or you maybe don't even have a physical disc in it, have a digital download code, or, that kind of thing of just like, because I think that's where they're going to end up going anyway, but we're just in that crossover period where they're not ready. It's not. Yeah,
people are still buying discs.
It's not quite. We're at a point where it's like with the iTunes, isn't it? Where people buying songs, trying to get people off CDs and onto buying, and it's the same with video games at the minute. They're trying to. So many of them are online only, but they still have to physically go out and buy a disc, and then you end up having a day one 5 gig download.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, not being funny, but it's like starter pack. If they came out, maybe that's the other side. You have the starter pack is completely console neutral, and you just download the game for free. You download it, and so that those are the ways of looking. That I mean, that would save so much storage space in stores. You can imagine just one. Because they haven't really even gone down tablet routes and stuff. Because if that turns out to be popular, it's, if they've got, it's tricky. I don't know. It's just trying to sort of look at it and go, well, what they've done has worked, and certain stuff has done, but we want to see it improved.
Yeah,
And I think having more updates, I would love to, like I think this year, we've got a lot of figures coming out, but a lot better than the year before, where we only had Agent P and Phileas. This year we've got 6-7 figures, but it would be lovely to get a playset or a toy box game disc or something now, or at Easter time, to tide us over till the new game. And also, like, why can't we have something new in June or July? Why is it that we always have to wait for Christmas? It's that kind of. I know they've got the holiday season and stuff, but if it was a platform rather than a single game, and just if a brand new playset comes out, if an Ant-Man playset came out in June to tie in with the movie, that doesn't have to be automatically connected to another. And someone could just buy the playset and then go and download it. It'd be a lot easier.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, I agree with you. Definitely. It'd be kind of cool that all of a sudden they just announced something we didn't even know because they just patched it in or updated it. Anyways, yeah.
Okay, so I'm gonna pass you over to your choice.
Let's see, which one should I say? I'll leave this one for later, but one of the things I wasn't too crazy about, even though it was so nice to see them in there, but I feel like the 1.0 figures got cheated in 2.0. You have these new 2.0 figures, and let's just talk Disney only, just to make it fair. You have Baymax or you have Maleficent coming in who have special attacks and cool abilities, and you just have the 1.0 figures who don't. They just have one attack, some improvements on some of them, but nothing drastic to be very noticeable. And I just feel like it was just a missed opportunity. Again, I think it comes back to what you said about it possibly being just rushed. And that was just not something they worked on. But, to not have Buzz Lightyear to be flyable, or even Syndrome flying because he has that ability, or just so many things they could have done. Incorporated like a wall crawl for Wreck-It Ralph, or just a lot of things. Just a lot of missed opportunities. I mean, we all know that they have asked what abilities we want, so it seems like it's something they're working on, but
it should have been done.
It should have been done. And it kind of ties into what we were talking about on our last one with the Green Goblin. Just missed opportunities, like a lot of oversights happening, and I think 1.0 figures were a big oversight, in my opinion.
The thing, I mean, I think, like, obviously bringing the figures forward into 2.0 was good. It's exactly what people have got all these figures. They need to be able to feel like there's content in them. If you buy a figure, you've got it for years and you can keep using it. But, and they gave them skill trees, and but when you start playing with a 1 character, you realize the skill tree is pretty much the same. They've had a few upgrades and stuff. Like Phileas has got spider sense for some reason. But they are just massively outmatched. If you're playing your brother on it, and you've got like you say Bimax, and they've got Sorcerer Mickey, they have got no chance with the special moves, the extra fighting moves. They're just it's like if I was playing, like, oh look, Phileas can do a roll, he can do a headbutt, and he can shoot things, and it's like there's no.
Yeah.
It's like they should have been, get those characters, and this is the next thing. Those characters are on the shelf. Those characters are now being re-released for the they're being reissued. They're being put out again. They're going to be on the shelf for years. Kids are now going into the shop. They can pick up Captain America and Lightning McQueen, and they walk home and they put it on their new game and they play it. And Lightning McQueen will just feel completely inferior. And they're not going to understand that there's a difference between them. It just feels like they missed, and they should have spent more time developing those characters going forward. And I think it was, if you're putting if someone's still paying £10-12 for, Wreck-It Ralph, they shouldn't. It's that kind of thing of, well, if you want these characters out for indefinitely, they should all be similar.
Yeah,
should all
I
have
agree.
the same. Sorcerer Mickey was a perfect example of a character that was in 2.0, but wasn't. He should have at least been given something, because he had 2.0 slapped on the box.
Well, not only that, but he's also the company's trademark. You gotta make him. He should be the more powerful figure of them all, as opposed to Hulk or anything like that.
It just felt like something they should have done. They should have again. I know it's going to be very simple. It come down to time and money.
Absolutely.
It's better.
They can't do everything.
They can't. They can't do everything, but at the same time, it's not as if those characters were no longer on sale, I could understand it. Okay,
Absolutely.
If they pull Barbossa and Davy Jones and Francesco off the shelf, and they never print them again, fine. Okay, those characters are long gone, and they're not getting all the upgrades. Okay, I could understand that. But you can't re-release Buzz Lightyear next month and not upgrade. You can't have it both ways. That's the way I look at it. You can't reissue it and keep it out there for people to buy and not give it enough time and attention, because that's not fair on the it's not very good value for money. Because, not being funny, but Buzz Lightyear for 2.0, he has got no content compared to the first game. If you actually went out now and brought Buzz Lightyear when he's re-released, he's got no adventures, you've got no playset to play him in, he's got no special moves, he's got no abilities. He's not looking very good value for money compared to another character from 2.0.
Right.
And I'm just looking at it purely from a new customer today, not a
Absolutely.
not a customer from 2 years ago that brought one figure and just wants to keep playing it for the rest of it and thinks they should get all the entitlements of everything. That's different again. But I'm thinking of a brand new customer right now should have a same value for money that they were getting from another character, because they don't know. They're not going to know the difference. There's another big label slapped on it saying this is only half a figure compared to Captain America.
Yeah. Well, it really depends on how their packaging is going to look now. So.
But no, so that's on that one. So that's my turn. Okay, which one am I going to go for? This, I think this pretty much leads into what we've been saying. I'm going to jump here to more development time. Now, I, in all honesty, feel this kind of ties into everything we've been saying, and it keeps coming back to the same problem: rushed. And lots of people have been saying, when we all got 2.0, we all loved it, and over time, we've all slowly, gradually realised there's some big flaws in it, and the big issue's been development time. They rushed to get 2.0 out. If they're rushing again to get 3.0 out for the new holiday season, what's happening is by rushing it is they are spreading themselves either too thin, or they haven't got enough people doing it, and it's not being done maybe as well as it should be or what people are expecting. The glider should never have happened. That is a perfect example of development time and oversights, and just, they are, this is the thing of, from the workers' point of view at Disney, I'm sure the guys at the Disney place are under pressure. They've got, they're doing the best they can with the time they've got and the money they've got, and they're doing everything they possibly can. And it's not necessarily them that are making these calls. It's the fact is that the whole system needs more time to develop.
Yeah. I mean, it's a no-brainer. I mean, in fact, I think you've brought up in the past too. It seems like it's been happening a lot with not just Disney Infinity, but with so many other games. Just constant glitches, and I honestly don't think it's bad work or bad employees not doing their job. It's just, I think it's just lack of time. I think they're just being. They're almost becoming like the movie industry, where like, okay, this is your release date, get to it. Make sure you have this amount of time to do it. And what a lot of people don't know, even though it takes a lot of man hours to make movies, they only shoot for like maybe about a month or two to make the movie. Everything else is post production. In video games, that's not the case. They're working nonstop. Yeah, the whole kit and caboodle. It's kind of like basically working on an animated movie. Yeah. It takes
4 years time.
Yeah.
And I think that's the thing of. I think that's the process of this annual update. They maybe have set themselves up for something they can't do. Maybe there's not enough manpower. Maybe, like I said, they could bring out. I'm not being funny, but it's like if 3.0 comes out, fix the problems with the 2.0 toy box. Give us more playsets, give us more toy box stuff, give us more figures, but maybe they don't have to spend as long on the development side because they maybe got more of it right, if that makes sense. They maybe, it's like not being funny, but if they brought out a toy box 3.0 with everything that we've got now, but it all works perfectly, and they add a load of new toys to play with and loads of themes and stuff and more playsets, I think a lot of us would be like, okay, that's cool. There was such a big leap for the toy box when it went to 2.0. Yeah. Maybe they don't need to do that for 3.0. They just have to get a few other things working and spend more time on content.
Yeah, you know what? And piggyback off of that, their annual update, sure, why don't they release a 3.0 this year, but do it like December 25th? Give yourself the whole year. You know what I mean? Like
they're not going to do that because they want the holiday season. But
of course, but I'm just saying, but that if they need more time, they can do their whole play on words, and if it's an annual update, fine, release it, I don't know, December 1st, whatever, you know what I mean? I
think, like you said, though, they're all of the video games, it's not just Disney, this is all of them, they're all rushing to get in for that holiday period, and video games now are big money, they're huge, they are bigger than movies, and they can't afford to miss those dates, and maybe that's the thing. If maybe, it's not being funny, but 3.0 could literally just be, a 2.0 with a few things fixed and just some new playsets. Maybe I'm hoping that they've kind of got a lot of the. Maybe they don't make such a big leap forward and try and overstretch themselves. I mean, we don't know now. They've probably been working on some of this stuff for 6 months. The things are already set in. The wheels are in motion. It's. But I do hope that they spend more time, and They have longer development time. If they want to do a yearly update or new starter pack, maybe it should be like every 2 years they have a big upgrade.
Yeah, that would be the starter pack right there.
Maybe like if they're bringing out the figures and then playsets, for a year, come out with a 3.0 single starter pack for Christmas, new playsets, all the rest of it. But the main engine underneath is just working, and then do the big upgrade every 2 years. Because I'm not being funny, but I think that's what the playsets are, what people bring in, and if they keep, you'd love to see them add more logic and add more bits and pieces, but I think they need to get it right before they maybe get on to sort of trying to do a massive overhaul like they did. Because 2.0 was the toy box was a huge overhaul from the first game.
Oh yeah, huge overhaul. Yeah, absolutely.
But so this is the thing. Is like I said, is we're going through this and we're saying about improvements, and it might seem like we're very, we're pretty critical and we're kind of, cracking into it. But it's the thing we spend everyone that gets into Infinity, they spend a lot of money. If you went out and you had on day one a Disney Infinity pack with every single item from 2.0, and it had a $400 sticker on it, and you had Assassin's Creed next to it, or Grand Theft Auto sat next to it for $6. I think a lot of people would expect the $400 one to be, a big quality, good product compared to a Grand Theft.
It was big too.
Come home with that big. Can you imagine how big it? I want the big mega collector's edition. Here is 3.0.
Yeah,
$500. There you go.
For those who did not see, for those who did not see how big the collector's edition box was this year, Travis, he made it into a trash can. Like, it was that big. I mean. Yeah. Anyways,
there's a video. Yeah, there's that video of my unboxing of it. It's on my coffee. It takes up the entire.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
It filled up the whole of the back of the car.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. So it's your turn. I think it's that number 4.
Right.
Yeah. Your fourth one.
Man, it looks like all our stuff segues together very well. Obviously, the one I want to talk about has to do with probably development time and all that stuff, but for me, one of the things I would like to see improved would definitely be the interiors. Mm-hmm. It was a nice, cool feature to be added in. Really cool to create your own. It's kind of like having your own little clubhouse, and you can theme it to however you want. However, it opened up a new avenue. Like the Maya interior is cool. Everything's cool. Yeah, there's a few glitches on it, but when they opened it up for interiors to be used in toy boxes, awesome. In fact, I've been working with one and it works well. The only issue, though, is that there's just too many darn glitches that it just does not work well with the toy box when you connect it. I don't know if it's just my experience and maybe everybody else is having great experiences with it, but I've had to do my interior over 3 times, eliminating rooms, eliminating stuff, because like there's one time where I saved it, came back to it, and absolutely every single item was halfway through the floor.
Yeah.
Or my logic was completely all disconnected, or even the town people toys were all just constantly falling into the utter abyss over and over and over again because they just didn't spawn well. And one of the craziest ones that I had that just really got me frustrated was I had a couple of rooms together, and I saved, came back to it, and then the main room, which I started in, which was just tiny, that led you to the big room, was completely disconnected. And I think the editing features on the actual rooms themselves, when you connect multiple rooms, that needs to be highly improved. Overall, it's just great feature, everything's cool, but I do seem to notice a lot of issues and glitches when it comes to tying them to toy boxes. So I don't know if you need to add anything to that.
Yeah, I mean, I did actually have an interior as one of my items as well, because now I've got to maybe slide. First off, I don't like the interiors. There's a couple of reasons for it. First off, they feel very limited. You're not as free as you are in a normal toy box. like you said, it didn't work very well to begin with. You know, it's like, ooh, it's like, you know, the theming was being lost, things weren't working right. And in all honesty, I'm going to be pretty, I haven't really, I used them in the first 2 toy boxes I built, and I haven't gone back into them ever since, because they were so glitchy. I just didn't like them. They just it wasn't working right. I'd love for any toy that is available in the interior should be available for the toy box. Like the Christmas one, there was so many Christmas stuff that I knew the game had, but it was in an interior, and I couldn't use them in my main toy box. It's like, if you're gonna build it, put it in the toy box as well. If you've built the thing, just put it in there. Don't make me separate between interior and toy box. Now, I understand you can't bring everything from the toy box into the interior, but everything from the interior should be in. People build rooms, people build insides, and I think that was a big flaw. They should have, everything that's in the interior should be in the toy box.
Well, everything that was in the interior had to have been brought in somehow, right? So obviously from the outside, which is the toy box.
So, but it just feels like, you know, like there was a whole load of Christmas things, and you know, there's so many great toys that were themed to Sleeping Beauty and Captain America and stuff. That would have been great if you had them in the toy box. But which leads on to this thing of, the reason I stopped using the interiors was the load times. I couldn't stand the load times between toy boxes, and they're so long. And the interiors things, if nothing would frustrate me more when I went into a toy box, I downloaded one and started off in an interior, and we're in an empty room, and it looks pretty, and then you go through the door and you go into the toy box, and you go, well, why? There was no reason for me to be in there. I've just wasted 3 minutes of my time doing absolutely nothing. I've loaded into it, walked through 3 nice pretty rooms, opened through another door, and gone into interior. Or when you go from a toy box into an interior, you walk through it, you come out the other side, and there's nothing to do in the middle, and you're like, I've got all that extra loading time for nothing. And that's why I stopped using them, because I didn't like playing it, so I was like, when I'm building it, I'm not going to do that. You know, this whole thing of the interiors was just, it looks nice, it's a really cool idea, and I think it's got a lot of work on it to upgrade it. I don't think it was fully ready. I don't think it was there's a perfect example. They should have, that wasn't working, they should have pushed it back to 3.0 and not introduced it. You know, it wasn't ready, it wasn't working, and it got rushed in, and if they should have pushed it back. It was, you know, on a certain day, go, right, it's not working properly, we can't keep, you know, I know video games, they're all going, we'll put it out anyway and we'll just patch it. That seems to, and it's not working. It's not working that way, and loads of games are suffering from it.
You know, I mean, that actually taps into the one that you said earlier about development time. I mean, I definitely would think that fixing the issues from 2.0 is definitely taking up precious developing time for 3.0. And that's,
But there again, that ties into I'd rather have 3.0 be 2.0 working perfectly with more toys and more themings and more playsets, then spending too long trying to build more stuff and trying to make it bigger. And, you know, I think that's what, you know, I know people will go, oh, it's just 2.0 the same, it hasn't been upgraded enough. Well, let it work, you know.
Maybe do like a 2.0, and then the following year do 2.5, and then the year after that 3.0, big game, and then following year 3.5 updates. You know.
I mean, but that makes perfect sense. You know, kind of like you say. Maybe if it was 2.5, people would be like, you know, like mentally kind of going, well, it's not quite a full upgrade. It's only half an upgrade.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like Windows 8 to Windows 8.1 is just more rubbish.
Exactly. It's just all those bugs and
you got
upgrades.
the start button back. I can't wait to get rid of Windows 8.1. Oh, that's awful. Right. Okay.
On to your number 4.
On to my number 4. Right. Right. Okay. So this one here is playsets working on. I think one of the biggest problems with the confusion with people was people not being able to understand the concept that you couldn't bring a 1.0 playset onto 2.0. And now there's 2 ways of looking at this. You know, obviously from the mental side of things of picking up the the Cars playset, popping it down on 2.0, and it doesn't work. It unlocks stuff, but you can't play it. Now, like we said earlier, you could have a download that downloads it, and they could play it, which works perfectly on a PlayStation 3 or an Xbox 360. You know, but there again, if you've got those consoles, you can just slap in the first game disc and you can play it, and you can carry on as you like.
Right.
For us Xbox One and PlayStation 4 people, we've lost it. You know, I can't go back and play it because I don't have a PS3 anymore. I can't play it. You know, I know there's a lot of there's a very much a choice of, do they make 1.0 on the new consoles, or do they spend time building new playsets? Well, yeah, you know, they make more money on the new playsets, and people want new. But it would be great, you know, if you could pop down the first game and it would download it, or it was on the Blu-ray disc. I know there's a thing, I think the Xbox 360 doesn't have the Blu-ray player, so it's not big enough storage to hold them. But I think, you know, again, I think having the ability to play those old play sets would have really helped 2.0 from the point of view of a lot of families would have still had access to play, you know, Buzz Lightyear, and they would have had the play set, and they would I don't think it's going to happen because of the way that if they're re-releasing the figures from 1.0 as single characters, that means those playsets ain't coming back. Right. Once they've gone, they've gone. But I think they should try and get those first playsets onto the new consoles, just as a download. Or the trouble is, it's development time. It's, you know, they've got to have to redo it. They're going to have to remaster it, and they're going to have to, you know, and there again, people will be like, well, I'm not paying for it again because I've already got it. You know, and once you've got something physical, it's hard to get people to think that you've got to repurchase it. It's a big thing. Digital is, you know, or you've got to repurchase it. When it's something physical, people do not like buying it again. Look at the base. I mean, how many people complained that they had to buy a second base and it was a waste of money and it was cost, you know, and, you know, once you have something physical, there's a price attached to it. You know, and people think of that $30 was that playset. You're buying that playset for $30, and I want to get my $30 out of it. Was like we always said, was you're buying the two figures, and the playset was the bonus. The playset is the thing to make you go buy the other figures. It's not there to make, you know, they don't put a lot of money onto that playset piece. But I'd love to have the 1.0 playsets available on the PS4 and the Xbox One.
Yeah, honestly, I think, you know, you said you don't think the playsets are coming back. I mean, yeah, they're not coming back in physical form, but I feel like, you know, whether they do bring them back or not, via digital download and obviously remastered, I think that is a missed opportunity. And you're right, especially this round. It should have at least been forward compatible in this round, and the only reason why is because of all those new Disney fans who are basically disappointed because they don't have a play. They have all these Marvel video games and just a little, you know, toy box game disc.
I think, you know, you can kind of think, right, if you look at the future plan and go, right, so by Disney Infinity 7.0, how many playsets are you going to have? How many figures are you going to have? That disc isn't going to be able to store everything. So I understand why they've gone, right, okay, we can't keep moving playsets forward. They can't keep going forward because there's going to be forever having problems with them. You know, when we go onto the Xbox or the PlayStation 5, they can't bring all of those playsets with them.
No, I just bought my PlayStation last year.
But, you know, this is what I'm saying, is it's that thing of, I can see why the playsets are a bit of a thing where it's like bringing forward a game all the time. And I understand the mentality. Like with Assassin's Creed, I always go back to it. I don't go back and play Assassin's Creed 2 now. I've got Assassin's Creed Unity. So I think like that with a playset, but a lot of casual collectors don't think like that. They think of it as one game and everything should work. And I think it's a really tricky situation. You know, you don't go back and play Skylanders Giants. You know, that doesn't work with Trap Team. You know, the figures do, but the game's a totally different thing.
I think the only way that'll work, and it's kind of like you already tapped on, but one franchise that has that formula down pretty well is Pokemon. Like, they keep remastering older games and adding new features to it and making it prettier and looking cool. That's the only way it'll ever work. But I mean, it's too early in the game for even thinking that. You know what I mean? Like you and I said, you know, development time is precious and
money.
Yeah.
It's cost money to re-put it onto a new console. And
Yeah.
like I said, I'd much rather have a new playset come out. I'd rather they spent the money on, a Cinderella playset than make sure Toy Story works. Well, I've already played Toy Story. I've already done it. I don't,
Well,
I want new, and that's what everybody wants.
I was gonna say, what if they didn't bring back the old play sets, but what if they created something new? Like, what if they did a Toy Story Andy's bedroom type of play set? You know what I mean? Like, if it's something new, then maybe it might work. But other than that, I don't see it ever working. But
Yeah, I mean, I always think it's that thing like, I think like Frozen, for example, is a perfect example of something that they could maybe go back and if they came out with a Frozen playset for 3.0 with Olaf and Sven or something like that, and maybe not Sven, but Kristoff and Anna and Elsa can go into that playset, that adds extra value and people will be happy with it, and they can sell more characters. Toy Story, they could have done that Toy Story, that new Toy Story 4, introduce 3 or 4 new characters, but Woody and Buzz can go into it as well.
Mm-hmm.
And if the characters are on the shelf, new people will still be able to buy them.
Right.
You maybe you can slap a new. I don't really want reposes because I don't think that's necessarily needed. But
Yeah.
they could go back and redo. But they're not going to go back and do Monsters University.
Yeah. You know what? Just side note, I have a personal spoiler. We'll have a Frozen playset pretty soon. I come on. They're milking that cow. They're milking that cow so much right now. We're gonna have one, so just stay tuned.
Yeah. It's
no, not saying the word confirmed. Just saying my personal spoiler.
See, everyone's going on about 3.0 being Star Wars. Nah,
yeah, it's all Frozen.
There's 5 Frozen playsets.
You guys heard it here first.
There's going to be
3.0 Frozen.
18 different variant Olafs.
Yeah, and there'll be a what do you call it, a Yeti or
a marshmallow.
No, there's gonna be a Wampa in this.
Oh,
there
right.
you go.
The thing is that's what it's always funny because we always go Star Wars. It's like everyone thinks it's a foregone conclusion that 3.0 is going to be Star Wars. Now I think there will be a Star Wars item. Will it be like Marvel? Maybe not. But the way that they've done it with the parks, where it's now Frozen Land and Frozen Disney.
Yep.
It's like
I would love it if they threw a curveball at everybody. Sorry. Yeah. Star Wars got pushed back. That'll be 4.0.
Yeah. Disney
Frozen.
Yeah, Disney Infinity 2.5 Frozen Edition.
Oh
okay,
boy!
Right, so what are we up to? Number 5, is it for me?
Yeah, it's actually my turn, and it's number 5.
Your turn.
Yeah, this is our precious one because it's our last one. That's right. We're doing 5 each.
Yeah.
Okay. I crossed out a bunch of them because a lot of our conversations tied to each other, and I have 3. Which one? See, I want to do one, but I have one going on that I spoke to you about. That, you know what? Let's just do a bonus one. Yeah, I'll talk about the one I really want to talk about again after this, but I'll bring up one that I just brought up recently that I would really like to be fixed. I'm very annoyed with how the townspeople toys work. I wish they worked better. I don't like the fact that I don't like the fact that I need to use a replayer to record them do something and then play that over again. I mean, what's the point of having a toy and you set it down, and if it's not there when you come back,
and it's got an options for actions, and...
yeah, or even like I was asking before the video, I was asking Roger for advice because I was getting frustrated, but or even having to put a friendly spawner just because. I mean, the fact is this: if you put down a townsperson and you set it to, let's say, sleep, that means he's not going to be walking around. He's not going to be, possibly falling off the edge of the whole toy box and he's gone. The fact is he's sleeping. He's not moving. So that means logically, because these are logic toys, they have logic connections. Logically, if I save my game, go about my business, come back to it, and start from there, he should still be sleeping. But in fact, he's MIA. He is gone. Like, I've had so many issues. I mean, I get this. You know what I did? The scalable walls,
Yeah.
where you put
Yeah.
I
They
actually
walk through
put
them.
them. Yeah, exactly. I put them inside, and
Ah.
they keep bumping it. They
Yeah.
keep bumping it, and they're safe. They're stuck. They're not going anywhere. Save, exit, come back. They're gone again.
I think I might have worked out why your toy box maxed out, because the scalable barriers, there's a glitch with them at the minute that maxes out your bar. You need to take
Oh
them out.
no, I had a huge scalable barrier, and actually it wasn't taking up
All right.
my memory. Everything was great,
All right.
but I'm just saying, on one of them though, I even tried that for the
Yeah, I've done it as
townspeople,
well.
and that just didn't work.
Yeah,
It
they
just
bounce and then they eventually fall out of it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so that's a big complaint of mine.
Okay.
Please make townspeople toys work. Let them work. Let them be where I put them.
Yes.
If they walk around, fine. But I even put the marching orders logic
Yeah.
toy, and that does diddly squat. Nothing.
I did it in one, and I tried to get like a group of them to run. And sometimes it works. It's really a bit hit and miss. But there, it keeps going back to what we're saying. We'd rather have all this stuff work before they start adding more, isn't it?
Yeah.
That's, this kind of thing. So I had a few other items. So I had faster loading times, which I've already kind of gone on about.
Faster loading times.
And
Yeah.
so this is pretty much the last one. Really, is going to be more toys, more skydomes, more terrains. Just like you say, to me, there's a thing of logic toys and making the game work is one thing, but then you've got toys and skydomes and terrains, which are things that they work. You put down a new theme, you put down a new building, and it stays there and it works. And I think we just need, in 3.0, we need more. Obviously, we've got the Star Wars, but go back in and put in more toys from the previous. It's like I'm building a Lion King toy box. So I've popped down my Lion King terrain, and I've got a few extra decorations, which, if you know they're there, that's fantastic. I will admit, for a few months, with 1.0, I didn't know you could do that. You look in your ribbon, and you don't see anything from there. It's not until you put down that disc and change the texture of a tree would you know that there was an item. And it's quite very hidden in the background, and I think and I'd love to see them come back and put more toys from those characters that we've already seen. Go back and put some more, Wreck-It Ralph toys, more buildings, more. Yeah. Just go. Don't. I think there's this thing of keep going forward, and you put a nice little new. You put a Mulan thing in, or you put It's a Small World. Those little nods to other things are great, but when they have a challenge and it says build a Lion King toy box, and you kind of go, right, okay, I've got the terrain disc and I got Timon and Pumbaa. That is all I've got to build with, and it's like you want, it's something that they've brought in, but I don't know if they've brought enough toys in for it specifically. Yeah, if they've had a Playset or I found even with the Stitch one, when I was trying to build a Stitch, there wasn't a lot of toys available. Brave had loads, but Stitch didn't have as many. And I think sometimes when you've got a challenge or you want to build like if you want to build a Frozen playset, you can build lots of nice trees and stuff, but there's nothing else you can't build. There's not a lot of things, and I like to see just more of it. So go back and put more toys in, put more buildings in, put more shapes. I think that's one of the things as well. Is put some more shapes, different the blocks that we've got. Make more of them. Make them bigger. Make it's like you've got the square floor. Well, make a big square floor. Make more of them. Make different angled shapes. Because when you're trying to build an object, sometimes I've been finding quite a few times is you're very much just like Lego. You've only got half the time you've only got like a square. You can't. There's no curves. There's no things like that, which would make building toy boxes a lot better. It's just having your base pieces, your decorations, that is what adds to a toy box as well. Is it just adds that when you're running through a toy box, and it makes people think of playsets. The more you've got, the more themings and more toys you've got, the more embracive it comes. The more it comes into being part of a world.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that's where I've sort of, it's just, and they can keep adding new toys, and they could. It's all very fine slapping in I don't know, for example, say I'm trying to think of a movie off the top of my head that they haven't done. Say I'm going completely blank here now.
Robin Hood.
Robin Hood, yeah. So Robin Hood is a perfect example. Right, so we've only got a townsperson. Now, what if they added in, some theming or a building, or they just need to add more to it than what they did before? Add more townspeople, maybe add cast members, maybe try and work out a way of the cast member thing was something which was great, but it was so limited to play sets. I don't think they maybe. I don't know. It's just I feel they need to add more toys.
Just more.
I just want
toys.
more. But it's not necessarily. It doesn't always have to be fancy. It doesn't always have to be
right.
Big and functional and a big logic toy. Sometimes just even some more decoration would be better.
Yeah.
I'm not being funny, but it's like going into what I said before with that terrain. When you put that terrain disc on that ribbon, I want to see those like Lion King items. I think because then what I am having to do now is I put down the terrain disc and I sit there and I place all of the trees and all the fantasy items, and then I go through and change each and every single one of them to represent the theme I'm wanting, because I need to see what they are. Because you have to. I'm thinking, well, if I've actually got to place them, then change them so I can see what they look like, and it just seems a very cumbersome way of having to do that.
I usually just I hover over the toy like if I'm about to select it, and it'll populate on the map.
Yeah.
But then I will go on to the next one. I mean, I know you like to see them all together just to see which one looks better and stuff like that. But I have noticed that when I do that, it's so annoying having to change each one.
But you have to theme everything to do that to begin with. You have to set themes. I just feel like.
You're referring to the themable items. Yeah, I got you. That makes sense.
They're lost. They're lost in a couple of menus. If you put them down and you go change theme all, yes, fine, great. But sometimes like I was building. I don't maybe want to use everything in it. There was a toy maybe that it, like for example when I was building a Guardians of the Galaxy one, I was using something from, I wanted to use the Kyle, and I also wanted to use something from the Star-Lord version, Star-Lord texture disc. So suddenly I'm having to flick between the two, and it was just quite cumbersome finding it. And so you want more toys, but don't bury them.
I guess also better filters then.
I mean, I think the ribbons and stuff work perfectly, and I've really enjoyed using. I think it works well. I just think, but as they add more toys, you need those categories. I don't even use filters because you start knowing where they are.
Well, that's the thing, because when it's harder for me to find certain ones, I'll just do the filter and then toy origin, and then it's like Guardians, and then something else, and it's Guardians, Spider-Man, and then it's Killin'. Yeah. So it's like, okay, cool, so I know where they are. But it just depends. I don't know. But more toys is always good. More toys.
More toys. That's it. Because I think, like you said, you came up with 2.5, more toys, more. Fix everything, and worry.
New power discs. That's it. And here's a couple figures. I know you don't like power discs. Yeah. Anyways.
So I think that our 5.
That's it. Unless you have time for throwing a couple more, which I have too.
Free bonus. I'm just having a look here at my list of 9. I did fast the loading times. Yep, I did all of mine have been covered with yours as well.
Yeah, I have 2 quick ones. One is very easy. We've actually talked about this before, but with the new figures, the newer ones that just came out, no extra achievements or anything, and no little missions for them at all. And in general, tying with all the figures, no little missions like we did on 1.0 for every single individual. That was, I think, a big missed opportunity in 2.0.
Yeah, I think every character, they all had an adventure in the first one. It's only a toy box, but every single one should have an automatic toy box
adventure
by Disney. They can't keep I'm not being funny, but can't keep passing everything over to the community to keep building. They've got to. I agree. They've got to, they've got to build more than they're building to keep okay, the community makes great, but we shouldn't have to do, if the community said tomorrow, right, we're going on strike.
Yeah, pay me.
Pay me to make this. It's like sometimes you're going, well, I spend about 5 to 10 hours a week building toy boxes, and I'm thinking, and it's like,
Oops, sorry.
And sometimes you're going, well, they're not putting out those toy boxes. They're not putting it out for, it's so I think an adventure or even just something within the playset, because that was something they lost as well.
Yeah. Let me add the last one.
Because
this is the bonus one for everybody, and this is one thing that I wanted to get your opinion on too. One thing that really bothers me, and honestly, it's not a big deal. It really isn't, because it's cool. It's like having your own trophy room, but I just really don't see any big point of having the Hall of Heroes. And the reason why I say that is I go in there to showcase what I have, which I already have my physical figures at home. Then it also showcases every power disc I have. Okay, cool. I have those at home already. That's my showcase here. And it's cool to have a little room that, it shows that you level them all up. And then when you have them all, it gives you a little secret extra toy. But my argument to this is I wish they integrated something that kept me coming back to it. Something that, whether if it was a monthly mini game, something that would populate in your Hall of Heroes, or I don't know, maybe if they actually, how you were saying more toys, what if they did bring back the what do you call it? Remember what it was?
Oh, no.
No, but see, hold on. Let me talk.
Not the vote, please, not the vote.
Oh no, not the vote. I'm talking about whenever you wanted a toy, and you would spend your spins. Your spins is what I'm talking about. They were awful, but what if they had these very rare, very very rare toys that you can only get per spin, and the only way you get credit to spin this wheel was if you can buy them, or you can. Or what if they did like a challenge where you could win them? Maybe they gave you a digital code, something that'll bring me back into the Hall of Heroes.
They said right at the very beginning that you could win challenges and you could unlock toys and you could win stuff, didn't they?
Right.
But then that seems to have kind of vanished. I think the Hall of Heroes and the Hall of Superheroes again is that Marvel thing again. They had to keep it separate.
No, that I don't care about whether they're separate or not. I'm just saying, let's just talk about Disney alone.
Yeah. I mean, all honesty,
when do you go in there? Exactly. That's my point.
There's no reason to go in there.
If you're gonna give me that, give me a reason to go. You know what I mean? Aside from, okay, I got all the discs, I got all the statues. Now give me my secret, Luke's hovercraft. That type of thing.
Yeah. I mean, I went in there first to see what it would look like. Went in there a second time to record me going in there to see what was in there, and the third time was, which power disc do I still need? I was literally, there's no reason to go back in there. But now I've just thought of secret number 13 that I remembered suddenly when the daily challenge on the PC version. I want in the console. I want that on the console. Daily challenge that is on the PC version should be on the console versions, and that is a big thing as a bonus kind of extra one.
Bonus 13.
Bonus 13. So that is it. We're gonna leave it there. We're gonna carry on making a list for
put a pin on it and be done.
Yeah, we're gonna do part 2 later.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's just the thing. This is the thing. We're like, we have been, we've been pretty critical with this episode. There's no doubt about it. We have really kind of
absolutely.
We've gone in with a butcher knife and gone, that's not working. That's not working. That's not working. And why not? I mean, we not. I don't want to sit here and just be like, it's amazing, it's the best game ever, it's fantastic. You need constructive criticism to make things better.
Your voice got higher when you did that.
I'm a fanboy. It's amazing. I love Disney Infinity. It's amazing. It's it's that kind of thing of you've got to look at it. We're adults looking at it. We're not just there's no rose to it. And I don't think we should have to kind of just be like, we make the website and we make the webcasts and we do all the videos and stuff because we love the game. So there's no point, we do love the game. But that's the thing, because we love it, we know what we feel like there's things that need to be done, and we're a show. If we just sit here and did a show every time that was just like
everything's so happy
everything's
and
amazing,
dandy,
there's pixels, there's lots of pixie dust, and it's that wouldn't be right for us to do. And
no, yeah,
and again,
no,
we don't like being critical the whole time. But this one, we'd love to know what you guys think of this. What are your feedback? And we're going to put this up on the Facebook group as well. We want to get feedback. We want to get people discussing what they want to see improved. And this is not necessarily, we're not talking here about, I just want Olaf. I want Olaf. I want this. This is more than that. This is how the game overall runs. And we love to hear feedback. We love to know what you guys think. Like I said, it's not a case of being critical because we don't like it. We just want things to improve. We want things to get better, and I think that's the important thing to take forward. We're not saying cancel all starter packs. We have 2.0 and they should just give us everything for free. That's not being realistic. But
no, yeah, we definitely love the game, and obviously out of love, there's also criticism. You know what I mean? When you really like something so much, you need to be critical about it.
Yeah.
And the fact is, there's no point in sugarcoating it. There really isn't. I mean, in fact, if anything, we need to point out what's wrong so it'll actually get fixed.
Yeah.
But and like Roger said, we want to know what you guys think as far as what's going on that's wrong. And because I wanted to add to what you just said, Roger, before you guys go on and start typing your comments, this is not the opportunity to go, Disney sucks because you guys didn't give us play sets, or it's not about being rude or insulting or saying that, oh yeah, they're just in it to make money and all that stuff. We honestly want to hear from those who actually love the game and play the game and actually give us legit things like, oh yeah, I've been having trouble with the I don't know, the sword in the stone is not spawning correctly or something. Just some actual valid stuff that we want to hear your criticism. Constructive criticism. That's the word.
And we know it's that thing as well. We know everyone wants more Disney playsets. We know we ain't agree 100%. You're not gonna, we're all in line on that one. But we're all quite happy with that. And I think, but that's the thing is there. Like I said, this episode. It was all about picking vote and picking and trying to come up with constructive criticism and what we want to see improved. That was the whole point of this episode, was to be, and we might be it's some people might go, oh, you're just whinging and you're just moaning and you should just, well, that's the
next episode will be happy, dandying, throw glitter in the air. I'm just kidding.
I'll have to go, but I'm not too sure I want to hoover up all the glitter.
Next episode would be about Disney Infinity 3.0 Frozen.
Yes.
Frozen edition, not Star Wars.
Yes. Next week's episode will be slightly later than, it'll be a day or two later than that thing, because while this one comes out, I'm actually having a holiday, so that's why we recorded it and done this episode a little bit different.
You guys have too many holidays.
Yeah, you American, you only get, was it 2 weeks a year? Is that your annual leave?
No. I'm well, you're supposed to have legally a week consistently and then another week broken up, but
what, a year?
That's for every year. You're technically 2 weeks basically.
2 weeks
combined.
I think
however,
we get 26 or 28 days a year, so we get 4 to 5 weeks with bank holidays.
I was gonna say I don't work for corporate America, so I have vacation every day. We
call that unemployed.
That too.
No, I mean here in the UK you get like 5 weeks annual holiday a year.
That's awesome.
And I think in some places in Europe is even higher than that. So that's why a lot of people go to Florida for 2 weeks.
Are there any vacancies next to you? I think I need to move over there. Yeah.
But no, that's cool. So I think that pretty much is going to wrap up the show. Remember, you can subscribe to the YouTube channel. Remember, you can follow us on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, etc. Next week, there is going to be a change over in terms of, there's going to be a slight adjustment to the website and a slight adjustment to the YouTube channel. It'll all become clear next week. Nothing to worry about. Everything's going to be staying the same content, the same thing. We're just going to be giving everything a little bit of and overlay. You might have already noticed there's been a slight change to colours and stuff, but there's going to be a bit of an announcement next week and a few bits and pieces that have changed. But it's
basically, basically, I'll be shaving my head, and Roger will be wearing Roger will be wearing a toupee. Yeah. That will be the overhaul.
Yeah, we'll have the same content. It'll just be a few different adjustments, but it's all going to be good. It'll all make sense after next week when we announce everything that's going on. We've just been working on a few new things to kind of make your experience better, and to just kind of that's the whole point, really, just to make everything a lot better. So it'll all make sense next week when we announce what we're up to and what we've been busy doing. Okay, I think that pretty much wraps it up. So I'd like to thank Abe for joining me again.
No problem. Thank you, Roger.
Yes, it's almost like we've just we've only just did this. It's like deja vu.
Yeah.
It was all of about like 20 hours.
Am I going back in time?
So there we go. Okay, so a big thank you to everyone that's done it. If you're listening to the iTunes version or Stitcher, remember to subscribe on that. And remember to subscribe to the channel, and we shall see you guys next week.
Adios.
Adios, amigos.
It's hammer time. Yes. Not exactly MC Hammer, but... Yeah. Oh. Hey, Roger. Look, I got no hair, too. Look at that.
Oh, the joys of it, eh?
Look, he has his own glider. Ha ha, Green Goblin, you suck.
Bye, guys.
Bye.